When people are working out, and especially when they first start their workouts, they come to me and they're like, oh my gosh, my muscles are so sore. I've never had them feel like this before. What in the world's going on? What in the world should I do? Did I do something wrong? Let's dive into this. So, muscle soreness, generally speaking, we usually use this acronym called DOMS. DOMS is essentially delayed onset muscle soreness. This being that when you do a workout, do an exercise routine, you will have usually delayed muscle soreness 24 hours, 48 hours, sometimes 3 days after that workout routine, you'll start to notice some muscle soreness. So what exactly is going on here? Well, this is an inflammation response from the actual workout. Some of it is micro trauma, as in when you work out, your muscles slowly break down just a little bit from that workout, right? You're stressing them, so there's little micro tears and micro traumas in the muscles. That's one thing that happens that can lead to this inflammation, acute inflammation process. And then after that, there's also some fluid and a little bit of swelling that builds up in the muscle tissue as well. This is usually just pressure that's kind of built up around that area. But for a lot of people, when they are working out, they'll kind of think of it almost as pain, because pain receptors and pressure receptors are for a lot of times, hard to fully differentiate between the two. So when you have soreness after that workout, there's usually a little bit of micro trauma, a little bit of damage, but there's also some fluid and swelling, as in pressure that's building up around that area. That's for the most part what's going on when you are dealing with some muscle pain. A lot of people will think, oh, no, that's not true. It's lactic acid. My coach told me that. Or, lactic acid builds up, right? Not true. So there's this fuel. It becomes a fuel, but essentially lactate is something that builds up in our muscles during a workout. And lactate is something that when it builds up, it can actually be used to help to refuel our body and turned into essentially energy that can be used in our workout routine. So that burn you feel isn't necessarily from the lactic acid. There's kind of some other things going on there. But I just want you to realize when you have delayed onset muscle soreness, it's not from lactic acid buildup. Lactate, which is usually what we're talking about with lactic acid, actually helps us to do more exercise. It helps us to fuel that higher intensity workout. So what usually causes it? Well, usually novel exercise is what causes delayed onset muscle soreness. So an example of a novel exercise would be if you're a beginner and you've never done a workout routine before, and you go in and do some bench press, then you do a leg press machine, and maybe you do some abs and a little bit of cardio. Likely, that is all novel or new exercise for you. And because of that, you are literally exposing all of your tissues, all those adaptive tissues, to varying different stresses that your body isn't used to actually handling and withholding. So because of this, you usually do get sore from just these novel exercises. But this also does happen with people who are very, advanced, and they exercise a lot too. Myself personally, if I went to the gym right now, even though I'm a pretty advanced trainer and an advanced fitness coach, I could do an exercise that I haven't done in years, and likely, even though I'm well trained, the next day after, I would probably feel some muscle soreness. I would probably feel some DOMS, simply because I'm not used to that exercise form. Also too, and this usually goes in tandem with novel exercise, is that exercises with a large range of overall motion will usually lead to more muscle soreness. And this is simply because, kind of like we said with the last time, you're exposing your tissues to a large amount of demand. And if you're thinking about moving a muscle and a joint through a full range of motion, that's going to be more demand and more stress on your body versus if you are doing maybe like a half squat, for example, or like a cheating bicep curl, for example. You're not using as much overall muscle, you're not putting as much stress on your body relatively speaking, so that full large range of motion usually adds in a little bit of soreness. On top of that, eccentric focused workouts are going to put a lot of more force on your muscle and connective tissue than doing concentric only training. So you're probably thinking, what in the world is eccentric focused training? This is basically the type of the workout where you are controlling the movement. So when you are squatting and you are lowering yourself down, that's the eccentric. That's kind of the controlling portion of it. When you are doing bench press and you are bringing the bar down, that's the eccentric. That's the controlling portion of it, right? I'm trying to think of another example. When you're doing a row and you're letting the row slowly go away from your body, that's controlling it. That's eccentric. If you do very slow eccentric focused workouts, that's usually going to lead to more soreness. Also too, I just thought of running. Running is a very high eccentric loaded activity because you propel your body forward really fast and really hard, but the impact it takes when you land on your feet is very highly eccentric based. So it takes so much force to be able to absorb the landing from your overall walking. So that's why a lot of people, when they start running for the first time, they get really, really sore. And then of course, if your overall workload is just really, really intense and really, really high, that's going to lead to some muscle soreness and some DOMS potentially as well. So what can you do about it? Well, there's no magic pill, magic potion. Probably the best thing that most people can do to hopefully relieve some of the soreness from their workouts is to just simply rest. Rest can look a lot of different ways. Probably getting more sleep, probably maybe taking some more rest days, maybe taking a deload week or a complete week off. If you are somebody who actually needs it. If you just went in for your first workout and you've never done one before, you probably don't need a full-blown entire week off, but definitely focusing on rest and recovery. Foam rolling and massage can help with muscle soreness and DOMS a little bit because you're kind of pushing some of that fluid and swelling out, as we discussed earlier, and the reason of why you actually come up with DOMS and have these things. And then one of the things that people don't realize is that consistent exercise is probably one of the most potent ways to actually get used to muscle soreness and not get sore ultimately. So when it comes to this, you're probably thinking like, wait a second, he just told me if I was working out hard and a lot that I might be sore. So how does working out more help me to become not sore? Well, this goes back to that novel exercise idea. So if you are doing an exercise routine and you are consistently doing the same thing every single day, it's no longer novel. And that novelty when it comes to exercise is usually what leads a lot of people towards having soreness. So if you notice yourself being sore, try to just be more consistent with your exercise routine. Again, don't go full blown, don't do it every single day, but just realize the more that you do it, the more, the less sore you're overall gonna be. And then managing your workload, by far one of the biggest things. So going in, making sure you are sticking to your program. If you don't have a program, probably a good time to assess and make sure you are getting a good program for yourself so you're not doing too much too soon, and just progressing slowly. Again, fitness is a long game. We don't need to hit our extreme maxes today. We don't need to become the fittest version of ourselves today because that's not going to happen. It's going to take a long time. So going with the mindset of that exact thing. Go ahead and like this video if that gave you some good ideas and some valuable insight for you.